Oh my god. Good evening, everybody. Look, I'm in a real place now. I'm looking like what are my eyes doing? I need to calibrate, clearly. We got a couch. Where's my calibrate button? I need to set up a blimmin' shortcut for this. Where do I want to be looking? Hang on. Yeah, there we go. That works. The bombastic side eye. Come on. It was. I'm just feeling particularly sassy this evening, apparently. But yeah, hello. Good evening. I've done a lot of stuff. So Lee, aka Game Gaijin, has well, I think we're doing this thing now where he got the motivation to like sort out his stream by integrating StreamerBot and stuff, and I was already using it, but I wasn't really using it to its fullest capacity. So that's inspired me to do more, and then I think that's inspired him to add more to his, and now we're just kind of going back and forth until we're both like super. Stop throwing ducks at me, bro. I invite you into my swanky new penthouse apartment, and you're gonna throw in ducks at me? Like what? What? So rude, honestly. But yeah, I've done some housekeeping, changed some bits around. So what are the first things I should say? The new alerts are live. They're still very janky and temperamental, but they work. They're operational. I just need to like make them look a bit nicer. But yeah, the nice thing about them now is they work for
Who is this man?
resubs, and they work for gifted subs. And yeah, as you'll notice, thank you, Bob. You will notice that the live edits have moved to be channel point redeems rather than commands. I just figured like it just made the most sense to keep everything in one place, and you know, it's easy to forget the commands and stuff, and there's no real system for like controlling what people can do based on how many channel points they have. Like originally I wanted it to be like, oh, once you've got a certain amount of channel points you can do XYZ, but there's no way of checking that. And then I had another idea, which was like, oh well, what if there are channel point redeems that are like you unlock the use of this live edit, and then you're just added to a list on my end that says, yeah, this person can use this thing. But then I was like, it's just getting too complicated now. So I just, yeah, we'll put it where everything else is. My only concern with the channel point stuff is like the menu isn't great, so I'm worried that like it just gets lost in stuff. Like the TTS, for example, just gets buried in everything, and I kind of, you know, I want people to use that. So yeah, I don't know what the solution is there. Hey David, welcome. I've definitely done some like tweaking with my settings, and I'm realizing now that my head is a bit too rigid, so I'm gonna sort that out real quick. Let's like that, yeah. Oh bro, same. I'm EP as well. I was tired last night, and I was gonna play Metaphor, right? This is what happened, right? I was like, I'm feeling a bit tired. I'm gonna come off the PC. I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna play some Metaphor. But then I was like too tired, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to focus on Metaphor right now. I'm just gonna play some Slay the Spire instead. And next thing I know, it's 2 in the morning, and I have to be up for work the following day. So yeah, that happened. You've been awake since 1 AM, dude. Why? Why would you do this to yourself, bro? Yeah, maybe it's the animation that I'm using. That's like the reason why I'm locked in. Or is it? Or is it this? And this up? Like 0.5. Oh, or it could just be that I'm still not calibrated properly. I guess. Well, whatever. I'll keep fiddling with it. Sleep got fricked by naps and Star Rail. I feel like there's one culprit in particular there, rather than naps. Definitely think, yeah, maybe Star Rail's got something to do with that. We should play the game. It was definitely both. All right, I believe you. What else is there? What else is there I can talk about? We've got credits. I've got credits for the stream now, so I'll run them at the end. And the credits even remind me to raid someone at the end, so maybe I won't even forget that. Thanks again, Bob. Sound alerts are now all done locally, as is the chat. Like basically, sound alerts, stream elements, whatever, like external streamer services out there are all gone. Everything is handled through my PC now, pretty much, which I'm very excited for. My PC isn't excited for it though, because the moment we try and do anything like Monster Hunter again, it's going to catch on fire. But this is cool. I'm excited about this. You know, we've got a nice little setup, and I'm gonna keep like iterating on it and trying to make it better. I've gone all jittery again now. Stop it! Stop being so jittery. He's like, yeah, it was rough. You didn't see it. I suppose you watched the VOD, didn't you? But when I was doing the beta, it was yeah, it was something else. That first day when I was using my model at the same time, it was rough. But yeah, let's play a game. So this I don't know anything about this. This was recommended to me by my very, very, very beloved friend Alan last year, earlier this year. It was a while ago, and he was just like, "You should play this. I think it will be important." So, okay, I'll do it. Wait, there we go. My hand tracking is I've changed the position of my hand tracker, and it's better. But it's almost like I've got to tell it, like, "Hello, I'm using my hands now," before it'll even do anything. But hey-ho. So yeah, I'm gonna give that a go. It's a pretty short game from what I know, but like I say, I don't know anything about it particularly. It's not very interactive. It's made by the same people who made the Stanley Parable, which I also haven't played, but I know a bit more about the Stanley Parable than I know about this. But that's not to say that I know a lot. And when I went to pick it up, there was a bundle available where you get both. So I do also own the Stanley Parable now. So maybe that's something else that we can play in the near future, until I figure out what I'm doing on Thursdays. What are you doing, bro? Why are you so jittery? He's just like, I want to play. He's like drinking 47 cups of coffee. I'm going to calibrate again. Like that. Okay. Going in blind is awesome. Good, good, good. Let's get it loaded up then. And I've been told that it's not very long. So we'll see what time we're at the end. And ow. I've got an errant duck. There we go. He's fallen into my lap. Yeah, that generally sorts him out. Yeah, look, I think everything looks a lot neater now. I'll be curious to know what you guys think when we move into the gaming zone, which will be shortly, if the game will load. There we go. Okay, let's move over to the gamosphere. Whoosh. Oh no! No! Don't look at this! Don't look at this, it's broken. Where's it gone? Game capture. Whoosh. Lighting's gone a bit weird as well. Come on. We got a bed. Yeah, don't look at that. Nothing happens there. Hey, there we go. House tour. I mean, I could. Maybe I am trying to figure out a way to get it set up so I can like use my controller to move around and stuff. So one day there will be a house tour. Okay. I'm just gonna do something real quick. Does that work? Yeah, okay. Right. Alright. Definitely feels like my... This always happens, right? As soon as I load up the stream, my model's mouth becomes like far less expressive. It's really weird. But maybe it's just because I'm looking this way at OBS and I'm not looking at this screen or this, and it's the cameras or whatever. That is potentially what's going on. Okay, it's game time. Oh, can I have gamepad enabled? Left. Oh wait, hang on. Wait, back. Let's try again. Move forward, move left, look up, look left. Interact, menu select, this one. Go back a menu, this one. Pause is this one. Chat option 1. This one, this one, this one. Okay. Can you guys hear okay? So far, so goo. We like goo. We will begin the game. Got flashbang. Please make sure audio is on. I'm on it, bro.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide.
Hello.
My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just
okay.
Coda learning the basics.
I'm sorry, bro. I screwed up the calibration. Get out of here, Mace. There we go.
Basics of building a 3D environment.
No, that's still wrong. Move forward, move left, look up, look left. Wait. No, abort. Abort. Guys, I made it crash. I panicked. I panicked and I mashed the controller. I don't know if you saw it, but it asked me to input a button for the null command, and then the game crashed. Okay, move forward, move left, look up, look left. Select, go back. Pause. 1, 2, 3. Done. Right, let's try again. Sorry about that. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I've been freezing all evening.
Thank you very much for playing the
And now I'm
Beginner's Guide.
boiling.
My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of him.
Okay, I need to do a couple things. First of all, hi Abby. Thank you for stopping by, and oh, that makes sense. I did wonder if that was the case. Second of all, I'm gonna put captions on because I'm gonna miss stuff otherwise. And finally, I think I immediately know why. Get this mouse out of here, bro. I think I know why Alan recommended this to me straight away, because anyone who has known me for any length of time will know that I'm like an aspiring game developer. Like, I'd like to make at least a game at some point in the future. And I've tinkered with stuff before. Like, I've done a couple of things for conventions. We did some coding on stream before I transcended my flesh and became a VTuber. And, you know, my overlay and stuff, that was all done using Game Maker at the time. And yeah, so games, and like specifically game development, like as an indie, is a big part of my life. So yeah, it makes sense. It already makes sense. So yeah, okay, we'll move on. Also, good luck in Raid, Evie.
Himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made.
I guess I just gotta wait for it to, like, kick in.
Until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since.
Thanks,
And
Abby.
that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveyWreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Okay. I need to find, like, points. What are you doing with my cursor, man? You know what? I'm gonna game capture. Don't capture my cursor, so at least you guys don't have to look at it. I guess I'm just gonna have to, like, because it seems like it's just gonna go with, like, the narrative stuff, so which is fine. But I don't want this to just be I sit here in the corner and not interact with you guys and not, you know, not react or whatever. So already I'm feeling like, so his friend just stopped, right? I have a problem with when it comes to, like, creativity. And again, anyone who knows me knows this. But I do bounce around things a lot. I think part of it is definitely the ADHD, but for the longest time, like, I'll get an idea in my head about something, and it becomes all consuming, and I put a lot of work and a lot of effort into that specific thing, like a hyper focus, and then it's like someone flicks a switch, and suddenly I'm not interested anymore. And I think there are a lot of things that go into that. So again, like, I'm curious about where this is going already. I have a feeling it's going to resonate. Gun!
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Uh-oh.
You can click to fire the gun.
The X button. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, bang, bang. Can't baba bang anymore. I've become unable to baba bang.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets.
There we go.
But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin.
Door open.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Oh, yeah. Is this going to be a thing of, like...
Apparently the space station has a labyrinth on it.
Of course. Well,
Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Nah, man, it's because if an alien invades, then you know they've got to get through the labyrinth to get to you and do their alien thing. What was I gonna say? Is this gonna become a thing about like all of his games have like stuff missing, or they're all just like a little bit shit? But that's part of the beauty of them.
Or if you'd really like to solve the labyrinth, you're welcome to do that too.
Oh, I've gone back into the labyrinth. No. It's okay. It's okay. I was joking, dude.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all.
Me?
That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature.
Put the heating on.
Your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Let's go! Dead.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Geronimo! Oh. Oh. Bye.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaos.
Yo, there's the labyrinth.
Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Bye. It's PT. Okay, so I can't move. Oh, I can't.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards. So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
That's cool. The future could not be seen. Why does the future keep changing? Ah! Get it. When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. Oh, it's near. Coda is actually Yoko Taro. I'm calling it now. Oh. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more
Do something
than that,
super scary there.
which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
You are now entering the... Oh.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
You know what I'm immediately reminded of?
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Sorry. I'm immediately reminded of the Hex, and like Dan Mullen's kind of multiverse of like random little games. Ads are about to run, so I guess we'll let those go. With this being quite a narrative heavy game, I don't really want to go while there are ads on and stuff. Should I show you something else? Like I've made like a shortcut for YouTube, so if you guys want to show me videos and stuff, I can do the thing. Oh, people finding me on Blue Sky all of a sudden. Where are we? Open up YouTube. Find one of the videos we were watching the other day. All right. No, I'm just a little shadow. I can go. I can just press this button and go. What? I said. Hang on. I said hoo-wah. Where is it? Oh, it's gonna lose focus every bloody time, isn't it? Do I mind people reposting my name? No, absolutely. You go ahead, man. There we go. Oh. Okay, I need to. Always find window of the same type. Match title always find window of the same executable. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Whoop, 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 whoop. So I can bring up YouTube super quick when people want me to watch stuff. Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Bob. 40 seconds. I need to think of stuff. I need to think of stuff to do for ad breaks. I was supposed to like have this stuff queued up already. I promise I'll do it for next. This week has been a bit weird. I just feel like I've been working, and when
This
I've
is
not
a
been
secret
working,
time to share secrets.
I've got a secret. That's it. Oh my god, my brain has just gone completely blank. This is why you don't stay up until 2 a.m. playing Slay the Spire, ladies and gents. All right, we're back. Let's continue.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Mood, I relate to that.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
So you can just cheat. What if I just kept going like this, though? You know? What if I just man-moded it? Well, we'll never know, because I'm not going to do that. Ooh. Oh god.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games. Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
You are a gate. Oh. Yeah, man. I'm gonna be a hardcore beginner's guide player. Everyone will know him. Look, it's Cam. He did the stairs.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's
Minecraft!
an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Spooky. Okay, so I've already fallen down the thing. Do this. Is it going to be like I have to close it? I have to do this? Oh, ha!
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're going to see it a lot.
We likes this one. Coda's a fan of the old close the door from the other side thing.
You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Yo!
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior.
Yeah.
And in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world.
It's like inside the Millennium Puzzle, isn't it?
The point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player.
I play.
So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
I think Coda is the Pharaoh. King of Gates. You are now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
House.
Let's talk about video game development for a second.
Yes.
Every video game runs on what's called an engine,
Yes.
which determines what the game can and cannot do.
I like Game Maker.
So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
I started using Godot very
To
briefly
make
as
all
well.
of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source.
Source.
Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Well, yeah, I mean, he started with a Counter-Strike map, right? So I guess that makes sense. Because, like, the reason that I got into Game Maker, I mean, when I was in college, we learned Game Maker 6, like, we got the very basics of Game Maker 6. But I didn't properly become interested in Game Maker again until after Undertale, because of course I did. Oh. Spooky. I like these orange blocks. This is cool though. This, like, I know it's blocky and stuff, but I wouldn't expect this from Source. I don't know that much about it, but this don't look like it. We're doing that, what is it they do in CSGO when they do, like, the skating? And then you make YouTube videos about stuff that does not matter over the top of it. Bunny hopping, there you go. So spooky. Where am I going now? Ah! Oh, I see. He's like made a circle. It reminds me of, like, have you guys seen that? There's a video. Somebody. What's that? Somebody, like, used glitches and stuff to make a perfect, like, circular hole in Minecraft, and it's like the freakiest thing ever. It just looks so otherworldly. What? I think it's just the light, but it looks like a videotape. I'm too Amanda the Adventurer pilled. I'm gonna calibrate real quick. Wait, calibrate. Where have you gone? I need a shortcut for this so bad. I wonder. I think I might know what's going on. We're in prison now. Ooh. What am I in for? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Yeah, thank you. Oh.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games.
Playable Games.
That was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
He sounds like a funny guy. He sounds like the kind of guy that is like, you know, on the surface he's a bit of a knob, but they're like, the fact that, okay, you have this argument, right, and you're like, oh, you know, whatever, you're clearly a bit of a knob, but then he goes away and has the thought on it, like thinks about it, and then either spent the time like compiling this like group of games or whatever, or just straight up making them to send to him. Like, he's clearly like a very cerebral guy. It strikes me as the type of like, okay, I sometimes think he's a bit of a knob, but I can't help but like him because he's fascinating. I know a few people like that. And it does bring an interesting question about accessibility. Like, obviously, like, you want as many people to be able to play your game as possible, but you also want people to have unique experiences. So there is, like, I think, some merit in putting barricades up, as long as there's like purpose behind it, and not just to exclude people because they're like, oh, you know, if people have like accessibility issues in particular, you know, it's difficult for them to use a controller or, you know, sight vision or whatever. You want to put people on as close a level playing field as possible, at least to begin with. But at the same time, like I say, you know, our differences allow us to have different experiences with things. So.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
But I recognize that I'm saying that as like an able-bodied guy with, you know, no like huge like sight hearing issues or anything like that. So take what I say with a pinch of salt. Oh, look.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
So I'm gonna guess it's obviously symbolic, right? And the idea is like, in order to go forward, he can't go back, or something like that. I remember a few streams back you talked about accessibility versus artist's intent. Think about the recent God of War with color-coded NPCs. I haven't actually played the new God of War games, Bob. So can you explain what you mean by that? I'm interested. Is it like, are they color-coded in like these ones are the baddies because they're red? You there? Did you come from above?
Using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the buttons on your gamepad to respond.
There's a setting that turns everyone into flatly shaded models, so allies are blue and enemies are red. Interesting. I don't know. I guess I would need more context on like how it works and the intent behind it. But I don't know exactly how I feel about that, because you could codify that in the design of the enemies anyway. So yeah, I'm actually gonna look into that. I'm curious now. There was an enormous prison that I spent hours in. Yes, there were these colored floating blocks. That's the world above. You've been there. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side. I don't remember how I solved it. I didn't solve it. Someone else let me in. You don't want to trust me. You don't want to go over there. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand? It's the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there is nothing I want more. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair. And I guess if that's the case, and it's like not part of the intent for it to be, I suppose you're playing as like a god, right? So you're gonna know who your mates are. And if it was meant to be this like gritty, you know, it's dimly lit and you can't tell friend from foe because of that, and that's part of the intended experience, then that would be one thing. But if that isn't the intended experience, then I can see why having a thing like that would be useful. Hello, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? Yes, do you want to know how to solve it? No, actually, we find the black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? Actually, no, now that you remember it, now that you mention it, I remember feeling strange as I passed through it. Don't think too hard about it. You'll see it again soon. Cool.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Wow.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear
sick, that's
at
why.
the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Cool. I mean, I can relate to wanting an end goal, like a destination. That's kind of what drives everything. It's Dark Souls! He made Dark Souls! He's Miyazaki! Nice room. Not. What are my thoughts on Davies' commentary? What are the vibes? I don't know. I don't like the vague feeling that he's talking about Coda as if he's someone that he knew and not somebody that he continues to know. Like, it may be that they just grew apart. That's possible. So I suppose he did say that he made this game to try and convince him to get back into making games. So maybe I'm jumping to bad conclusions there. I don't know. I don't know what. I guess it feels like he's leading to maybe the idea that it's okay to not have clear purpose. Like, what matters is doing the thing. But we'll have to see.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up.
I did a game jam.
I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect,
reminds me of,
I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
Good points of this. Yeah, I did a game jam. I streamed it. That was a lot of fun. I would like to do another one sometime, but it was exhausting. Whoa. Holy shit. I learned a lot about myself doing that game jam, actually. I remember I lost a lot of time trying to fix something that basically didn't matter. Well, it's not that it didn't matter. It was like, it was functional. But it wasn't exactly like how I wanted it to work. And it was almost like I got fixated on that to the point where I lost so much time that the rest kind of sort of, you know, fell apart. And the overall presentation sort of took a hit because of that. But yeah, I would like to try again. I guess it's one thing, I'd never done it before, so I didn't really know how to plan my time. You guys hear me? I can link it. I can link the game to you if you want, Bob. If you're curious. It's on itch.io. I've just gotta find it. How do I find my itch.io? Game dev? There it is. Oh, no, that's Discord. Oh, I should have just said, you can look in my Discord server. But here it is anyway. It's very silly. But kind of fun. Hello. Reasonable.
Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them.
This reminds me a little bit of Zero Players Online.
It can be a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
Full cavern, bro.
It's ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing, I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world.
Yeah.
And then I feel less lonely too.
I don't know how I feel about that. Because it's like, okay, yeah, there's stuff that you can deduce about a person based on the things that they make, definitely. Ads are about to start, so I'll speculate on this for a while ads are adding. Obviously a lot of it's kind of like social media in a way. It's like this stream, for example, where you're only seeing like a fraction of who I am and my thoughts, and you know, in order for me to vocalize any of this stuff, I have to sift through a bunch of other things, and settle on the thing that I'm gonna say. And of course, like, parasocial is a good way of putting it. Yeah, like you think you're learning about this person by interacting with their work rather than they themselves. I don't think there's anything inherently. It's like parasociality in general, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with a parasocial relationship. It's just you have to recognize what it is, and recognize that your relationship with that person is one-sided. So yeah, I think because it's like, yeah, he's just writing out like random stuff and putting it here, but to draw the conclusion that he's lonely based on this, I don't know, that feels like jumping the gun slightly. Like, you can get the vibes, sure. What the shit is this cavern? Like, you could say it's like a stream of consciousness. How is there wood and grass and concrete here? What earth? Balls. that was me, I put that one there. I want to tell you a secret. Once upon a time, I did. Define fun. I'm king of the world, baby! You can get like a sense of a person, I think, through what they make. But I don't know. My brain is reaching for H.P. Lovecraft. It's probably a good example of somebody who you can learn a lot about him through his work. You can learn some pretty unsavory things that he probably wouldn't be very quick to admit in person through his work, you know, like his xenophobia and things like that. But I think one of the fascinating things about Lovecraft is when you read he had like a circle of friends, folks like August Derleth, and that's the only name that comes to mind right now. And they had like a little circle where they would all exchange letters with each other. It was like you know, before Discord servers, that was what you had to do. So they would all just talk to each other, and it's interesting in that, like, you learn more about him, about what he was really like, through what his friends said to him, like and all that kind of stuff. So you get the impression that they knew the real guy, and they clearly cared about him enough to like want him to be okay and things. Maybe, and part of this might just be me waxing lyrical, and again, maybe this is partly me being parasocial. You can't escape it. That's one thing that I would say is, like, parasociality has been demonized, but it's only demonized because the line is getting so blurred now. But like I say, there's inherently nothing wrong with it. But yeah, it was kind of eye-opening in a way, where it's like, you see all these people be like, oh, it's an interesting case study in, like, people are multifaceted, right? Hey guys, just looking for someone to talk with. I refuse to believe. I mean, it was a long time ago, though. I've probably forgotten more than I remember about him. But I need to go to the frickin' bathroom. Recognize me, please. I think, there's nothing here. Go back. But then there's another question that I need to ask, though, which is, how old is Davey? How old was Davey when he met this guy and, like, played this game for the first time? Because that could factor in as well. Because it's all well and good me saying this at the ripe age of 35, but if I was 25 or 15, I would react to this completely differently. Maybe I would think the same thing. Yeah, early 20s, possibly teenage. Yeah. Like, if I assume that he's around my age, then yeah, in 2009, he would have been about 21. Wait. 19. Maybe. Oh my god, maths. Yeah, early 20s. We'll stick with that. Who am I? Am I Davey? Because, you know, he could
Who
have
is
been
this
like,
man?
Who is this? Exactly. Because he could have been like, I'm going to invent a bunch of characters and leave their stuff like strewn around. So like, this isn't just him. This might not necessarily just be him like writing asinine stuff or like stream of consciousness. It could be that he created a cast of characters that are talking with each other. I help people because of the enteral good feeling I get. New room! I would very much like to be desired. I'm very crowded in here. Judged. A game where you leave notes and suddenly everyone's a poet. This is where I get off. Proceeding further will only result in misery. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna keep going. Cabbage shapes our nation. Doesn't matter if you ever go. Right, I'm gonna stop reading these now. And move on. Get to the next ad break before we even leave this game. Not safe. Not safe! I'm moving too fast to be able to read them. Well, I'm here now. Yeah, we're all here now. Duh. There must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. We're going for the lamppost.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea.
He's
that was
done
on
with it
Coda's
and
mind
moving
at
on.
the time that he was
I
making
guess.
it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Do you reckon he is Coda? That's the big reveal. He pulls the mask off. It's me, Austin! It was me all along! There's the lamppost. Woo!
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
So just before we move on, I'm actually going to I'm interpreting that game slightly differently based on the end. Because he was saying like, oh, you know, he's lonely or whatever, and he's just kind of like letting his thoughts drift in this place. It almost sounds to me like, or feels to me like, he just wants to do his own thing. He just wants to be left alone and get on with things. Like if I was going to interpret that game, he just wants to be left alone. Do whatever, make his games, do his thing. And he feels a pressure, like a pressure and like there's like he has to say something. He has to speak. People expect him to speak. People expect him to do all this stuff, like engage in society and communicate and do all this stuff. And he doesn't want to. He's happy doing his thing. Because that bit at the end with all the typewriters and like the what's going on, that seemed quite like stressful. I find it interesting that if you go with the idea that the door is moving past something that you find distressing and moving on, that going through that door would lead you to what I would argue is a more distressing scenario. Whereas before it was like, I've got to write all this stuff, but I don't know what to write, so I'm just going to put like nonsense. It then becomes, why aren't you writing? Why aren't you doing this? And it becomes it goes from being like, it goes from like ennui to anxiety almost. I used the word ennui. It's funny because it's got "we" in it. I'm gonna go do a big ennui in a minute. Okay, now I've suitably lowered the mood. Let's continue.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end.
Where's my lighthouse?
Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
I mean, what furniture ought to go in the center of the room? I guess if like how many times does something need to be reused for it to become like an obsession? Because you could just be reusing it because it's easy. Like it's already there, so why not use it? TV. That's a table, bro. How about along the wall of the room? I'd really like a washing machine. That's not. Oh. I think we should light up this room. I was pressing the wrong button. It was my fault. I'm thinking 10 by 12, recessed electric 6-inch soft LED ceiling lights with fluorescent trim. We'll put live Tesla coils in each corner. Yeah. That's not a Tesla coil. A table. You need a table. I'm pretty sure none of my choices are making it. Tables were invented in 1935. Whoa.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake. So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Hello. Please walk forward. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care that you remember each step. First, click on this table. Good. Go over to the photo frame and click to turn its... Okay, so table, photo frame. Now, turn the floor lamp in this room off, then turn it back on. Go to the left side sofa. Move it a little. Finally, touch the shelves. That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to the start to be taken back to your prison. I mean, I don't blame him. Because, like, these aren't just random, right?
The table's gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally,
that's just him.
It's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working?
I've iterated on the same thing a bunch of times
Coda
before.
Doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
It is frustrating and like painful though when you've got something stuck in your head and it's like, I have to make this work, and you just can't, and you keep iterating. But then when you finally figure it out, oh, it's good. Which reminds me, I need to go back to Void Stranger at some point. They added more puzzles and they're harder. And there's one in particular that I got to and I was just like, I think the game's finally beaten me. After all the time and all the previous times that I thought the game had beaten me, I feel like it actually has. But maybe I just need to go back to it with fresh eyes. Telephone. Hello? Who is this? Hey, it's me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. You're me? So you were trapped in this prison too? Yep, I was in the furniture maze.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows.
But the someone who knows is him.
That even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
That's where I am right now. I'm so glad to know that I get out eventually. What's it like to escape? It's strange, but in a way I kind of miss being in the prison. Feels like being completely still and wildly in motion at the same time. Kind of miss being in the prison. Why? Was there anything about it that you felt good about? Being here sucks. It's looking forward to getting out, isn't it? Maybe I only like things once I don't have them anymore. I was comfortable in my limits. Don't you feel excited about getting out? The promise of freedom? Excited? It's the only thing that matters to me. It's the only thing keeping me going. Excited doesn't really do it justice. Exactly, you have something you care about, something to look forward to. Just be with that enthusiasm for a bit, let it ooze into your flesh. Wait, if you're me, would you get a call from another version of when you were trapped? No, I think I'm the first person to call back. Then can you tell me how to get out? Maybe I can come find you. What do I have to do? Just tell me how you feel right now. What? That will free me? How does that work? It will make sense. Okay. I feel afraid that nothing will ever change. Go on.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
So, hang on. Sorry, Davey. I think I relate to that quite a lot. I think the idea of it's all metaphor, right? In that the prison is him trying to perfect the prison game idea, and there's like two opposing poles at play in that. You've got the anxiety, or the frustration. Sorry, the frustration of like, I want to do this thing. I want to figure this thing out, and I want to do it. And you're looking forward to the sense of accomplishment. Like, I finally get out of this, and you're going around and around and around. You're frustrated. Like, I want to figure it out. But then there is also an anxiety of like, you don't feel it at the time, but when you've done it, and the moment is like past, you figured it out, and you're on the other side, and you look back, there's almost a feeling of like, oh, well, now what? You know, that the feeling is gone. I guess the sense of enjoyment, there's a very unique feeling of that, like that motivation and like spirited energy that you get from trying to figure something out. That's kind of like at that perfect knife edge between intrigue and like frustration. Winning the World Series, I had that feeling. But yeah, so I definitely feel like it's like, okay, well, I'm relieved that it's done, but I also miss the feeling of trying to figure it out. And yeah, that's very relatable. I think I know what's going on.
What would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
You can make a game about me!
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Clean. Oh my goodness, I'm glad as all heck that you ooh, pardon me. I thought I might be able to clean this entire house all by myself and right miserable. That would have been Everyone knows loathsome hands make lousy
You'll notice that
homes.
the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Why don't we start cleaning and then you decide whether you could do it all night? I'll finish up here. In the meantime, could you please clear the table? The trouble, my mixing desk is up there, so I can't mute at a moment's notice anymore. Clear the table. Much nicer. That's the table I want to see. Would you please run into the bedroom and make the bed? That is not the bedroom. That is the bathroom. Look at this rug, man! What have we been doing in here? The little details matter. It's been a long time since I've seen a house this messy. This line of work, you let go of those judgments pretty fast. May not be your apartment, but something in your life needs straightening up. Think you've got nothing that needs cleaning? Be careful, because that means it's everything. Any rate, my place is just to see a bit of peace brought here. Speaking of which, the pillows on the couch are a wreck. Come out and straighten them up. Boosh! Oh dear, looks like someone spilled drink all over the couch. Maybe mop that up as long as you're over there. Boosh! I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Make it especially cheesy. No. No, it was stupid. Sorry, never mind. Hey, these dishes need to be washed. Why don't you come do that? Boom! Last I checked, the tub needed a cleaning. How about you scrub it down as best you can? Boosh! Don't need to be perfect, we're all just human. There are still books scattered on the floor in the bedroom. If so, would you put them back on the shelf? This is a nightmare to me, by the way. There's just so much that's accumulated. Perfect. Now then, how about you come and clear these dishes off the table?
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
House cleaning is so difficult. How did you do it? Darling, let me tell you something. Your house is only as difficult to clean as you are. If you're finding the work hard, maybe you have a bit of housekeeping to do before you come to work. Ha, and here I go with another lecture. Of course I would. Don't you worry about all that nonsense. For now, just smooth out the rug in the bedroom.
Actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Earlier when I said I had a really cheesy thought, I was going to say that it occurs to me that one's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it and it takes care of you. I don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. There's a bit of truth in that. Anyway, so, housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books, would you please clean up the books? Thanks. Oh goodness, those pillows over on the couch are a real mess.
I'm glad he found some peace.
Question. Do you enjoy this?
Of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Hmm.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it.
That's a good point then.
This
Okay, I'll pause there and stop to think about that for a minute. I guess hmm. That thing that because I was worried that it was like because we were getting the same oh yes, I will make another I'll make a cup of tea. That is what I will do. Okay, I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Where's my thing gone? He's vanished. Okay. So going back to my thoughts on that specific section, I have my cup of tea now and I've had time to think about it. Is I don't know whether it's just like because we've just moved house, so obviously we've been through a period of like going through all of our stuff, but also we had like a weird transitionary period where I was at the new place for like a month, um, with like barely anything, just a computer, like a bed, a few odds and ends, just kind of like the mod cons, really. And I remember feeling like a significant level of anxiety about when the rest of the stuff was coming over, because it was just like, oh god, we have so much crap. And it is weird, like now that it's all here and like going through it, it used to feel like while I was here with barely anything, it was so much easier to like just clean stuff. But of course, the more you accumulate, the harder that becomes. Like everything becomes more of a challenge. There's just naturally more obstacles, and more distractions. So those things that are like simple, and result in like a clean house and make you feel like happy and content or whatever, suddenly become more difficult and are like more stress inducing and things like that. So yeah, like I'm feeling it now, where it's like before I'd be like, oh yeah, I can just grab the Hoover and do a bit of a zhuzh. It now feels like so much more of a task now, even though not much has changed really. So I guess that section just kind of made me think about that and the whole, because the tasks were like repeating. Has it gotten more gratifying? Well, I haven't really done it. That's the thing. Like since all this stuff has arrived, there's always a distraction now. I guess is what I'm getting at. Always a distraction, always something else, or it's always like more of a pain in the ass. So I'll report back on that when we actually get around to doing it. But yeah, anyway, let's carry on.
One gets a bit goofy.
We like Goofy. Why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to become perfect. This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. I want your friends, people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know who is so well developed as a person that can make you feel disgusted with yourself? Compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful. I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. And the question is not how we do it, but how we do it effortlessly. This is easy. It's so easy.
About
it is
halfway
so
through the
easy.
game, the perspective shifts.
Being perfect is effortless. Yo!
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Well, let me tell you right now, if it isn't effortless, then it's not the right answer. You are torturing yourself trying to find the right solutions for your life. You're not doing it right. You understand what you... There is no truth, there is no path. Do what is easiest, do what is simple, feel what is true. Ooh. I like the effect on the whole like Eye of Sauron thing going on. Nothing. No one.
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. You assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days. This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
It looks amazing, though. Alright, the performance is beginning. Places, please. In this scene, you'll be playing as me. We are a gathering of professionals. First, you'll start out leaning against this wall. Good. Stay right there. The woman across the room, in this chair, is a professional photographer of animals. Your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something to succeed. Go on. Say something to her. Where's the bathroom? What are you doing? You're deflecting. You're not saying what's actually on your mind. Stop dancing around it and have a conversation with this person. Do it again. I think you're cool. I like you. No, no, no. That's not what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason it was just that one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel for this setting. There were a lot of people around us. Maybe some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. Now talk to her again. Boom. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. You're messing it all up again. You'll freak her out if the conversation gets that personal that quickly. Do you not realize how important this was for me? I'll never get another opportunity like this. Again, everything was riding on this. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. Oh, there's the thing. Oh, maybe. Oh no, I'm in prison. Maybe what with the game jam where they met? Okay, yes, no, this is working.
The game ends with this
like.
eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Help, I'm blind. Oh, whisper. Please, someone talk to me. Whoa. Yeah, it's all calling back. We're gonna crash.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
We're gonna go into the whisper machine. My work is always fun! Oh, I suppose that is true. Speed run, speed run, speed run. We're going, we're going, we're going. I didn't really read the other answers. The only way to stop it is to speak something that's honest. I am bursting with creative energy. Well, I am. It's truthful of me. Not necessarily a good thing. I can't keep making these. Yes, that's it. That's the truth. I don't feel it
Like I
anymore.
said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
Gonna be okay.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's
Desperate?
almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
What is this? Hello, is anyone there? Is that a person? How lovely! It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. I'm completely out of ideas. Oh no! What's happened? Did something change? I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. I need to see it to know why it stopped. I can take you to it, but there's a problem.
Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations. This one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
Deal. We're gonna solve the puzzle, find the machine.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
I've solved this puzzle before. Oh, wonderful. Can you tell me how to do it? First, you have to open the door. Okay, now what? Now you have to close the first door. Alright, what's next? Now you just press the switch here. was so simple.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way.
Yep.
You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
Here we are. What are you... These are just words on some walls. I've been scammed. Trust me, you'll see. You have to say your work is fun and easy. You have to say that game development is simple and joyous and that you love it 100% of the time. Okay, making games is simple. Feels wonderful. Why did I feel so awful when I said that? Don't worry about it, just keep talking. Keep saying that creation is easy. I am constantly excited and enthusiastic about my work. Yeah, there is. There's somebody crying, yeah. That's
Seeing
wonderful.
This game at
Keep
the
going.
time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Don't you say that. Just never stop creating and you'll never feel bad.
This is someone I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing.
Where's the machine? Just never stop drinking and you'll never get a hangover. Any sacrifices made for my work are worth it 100% of the time. Yes. More.
I
Keep
don't know.
going.
This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten.
I'm a vessel for certainty.
More than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
Incredible. That's it. I'm free. I'm free. Woman!
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
Mom, glad to see you've arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin the interrogation whenever you like. I tend to be quick. I tend to be brutal. Very good. Be one that someone called the press, who might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing that you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda. Very direct. Do you know where the poisonous games have come from?
And of course, it's the machine.
You stopped. Your work was keeping us alive. It was only because of your creations that any of us could make it through every day. How could we possibly trust you? Going back to this job. You have to admit to the people that you allowed them to suffer. think I know. I think I know what happened. Or I have an idea anyway. Before, when he was making them, and he was making loads and loads and loads, it was for him. He was doing it for himself. And then the moment he started sharing them with other people, he wasn't making them for himself anymore. He was making them for them. And then that's where the pressure came in. You know, it wasn't for the love of it anymore. Or he thought it was. Maybe. And then when he started finding it more difficult, he started to feel guilty about it. Also, why aren't my hands working? Give me hands. Give me hands. No, nothing. Alright then, I will speak to them for you. My friends, it falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine will refuse to admit that it has deliberately hurt us. We'll have to find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. Let us pay it retribution. Follow me. We will destroy everything the machine has created. Gun. Whoa! Whoa! Coda, I'll make sure your work dies here. Isn't that what you're scared of? Having to live without your precious creations? Having to deal with yourself?
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games.
Nope.
It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for it? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
No, his little bar with all his ideas in it. No. Destroy. Wah. Now this is a real video game. Just call me the executive. Original, thoughtful ideas don't need to exist.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Oh, cutscene. Put down your weapon.
can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good.
Uh-oh.
When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels
It is a nice feeling. I enjoy it.
I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem.
You are the problem, Davey.
He told me how much they enjoyed his games. It was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy.
Oh, Davey.
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email.
I'm going to pause it there because ads are about to start. But I definitely feel like that's where this is going, right? Where it's
oh no melon.
The sign. Oh no melon, indeed. The signs have been there from the start, right? Like the guy on the podium. It was all there. Like I even said it myself. Like the typewriters at the bottom of the thing. And the through line from all of his work is like he was doing it for himself. It was just like a way for him to tinker and have fun. And the mistake that he made was showing it to somebody who was like, I know what you need to do. You need as many people as possible to see this, and like start picking it apart. And yeah, I guess I feel like it's making games was a very personal thing to him, and suddenly it became something very not personal to him anymore. So that disconnection just like destroyed his creative spirit essentially. And you know, I will say, like, fair play to Davey. He did what he thought was the right thing. He's acted on like a misinterpretation. And you know, maybe as a result he's made things a bit worse. But I will say to his credit, at least he did something. Like, yeah, exactly. His heart was in the right place. He tried. And maybe it didn't work out, but that does mean something, you know. So my hope is that, you know, this has a happy ending, just based on that alone.
And it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
The Tower.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, The Tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
Yeah, the massive open space. I don't have an emoji that expresses pain.
This room actually has a maze in it.
That's amazing. Oh!
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press the use key on your gamepad.
I'm not messing with that.
Bridge over the maze.
Thank you, Davey. Davey, baby. Because, geez, that hurt.
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
Davey changed the game. He put so Coda put things in his games that were meant to be just for him.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code.
No.
Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time.
Perfect, we can monetize that.
During this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on. The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
I feel like a failure when I can't fix the problem. Man, I relate a lot to Davey as well. Like the more that we've gone into it, the more I feel like I relate to Coda, but I relate to Davey a lot as well. Like the insane desire to like solve problems, see everything, understand everything from all sides. And unfortunately,
was I a failure for not understanding this game?
An unfortunate side effect of that
I don't know why
is
I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow.
Sometimes people are
I feel
puzzles.
like I failed, and I don't understand why.
But I feel like it can't be something as simple as, oh, you circumvented my secret things. You saw my secret things in my games, so I'm mad. Because that wouldn't have as gradual a deterioration. Like, I'm sure, you know, that would happen once and it would be immediately apparent, like, oh, that annoyed me. It's definitely like, it's something that ground him down over time.
I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time. And as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them
Huh.
I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years, I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
Oh yeah. I mean, it looks amazing. Like when he was saying that he was working hard on like improving the visual polish of his games, like you're right. There's a light there.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed. Where did I screw up?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? He's looking at this like it's another puzzle, and it's not. He didn't screw up. He was just himself. It couldn't have gone any other way. Dear Davy, thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you not to speak to me anymore. The cut to silence.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
This is the one thing we didn't want to happen.
But we all knew it was coming. Oh no.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
I wonder at times whether you think I am making these games for you. He's not, he's making them for him. You've so infected my personal space.
And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, it was... I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
You've so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere, hidden between games. If there was an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? Would you stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes? Giving them something that is not yours to give? Violating the one boundary that keeps me safe? Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them? So, so was he fixing them? God. Oh.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
He was projecting meaning onto them. When I'm around you, I feel physically ill. You desperately need something, and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it. I will say one thing. Like, okay, I'm hoping, because he said like, oh, I'm making this to try and convince Coda to make games again. I hope that isn't true. Like, I hope that this is like they've resolved this or whatever, and have moved past it, because I feel a bit uncomfortable now. Like, this is. I feel like I shouldn't be reading this. You desperately need something, and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it. Yeah, like, I'm hoping that it's either fictional, or he's Coda, or, you know, there's some other twist to it. Because if this is just like legit, I'm uncomfortable. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. So Davey was projecting his anxieties onto him. The fact that you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than me. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. There's a note at the beginning that says something like, oh, so it's a drama. Okay, so it's like a dramatization. Okay. That's not as bad then. Which is fine. You're not my problem to solve. But I do hope that one day it clicks, and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
And when you finally see what I'm talking about, don't say anything. There's nothing quite so fear-inducing. Because you all know what I did, right? I turned around expecting there to be a lever there. And the cold fear when you turn around and there isn't one there. Man. That's it, isn't it? Oh, I'm an idiot. There still isn't anything there.
That's
I
why
misremembered
I'm releasing this collection of your work. Is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up.
You're saying something,
If
though. You've
I
ignored it.
apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again?
Does it matter?
Please. I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me?
No.
Because
Well, yes, but
I did
no.
an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again. Like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please.
Oh, God.
Start making games again, please.
The walls are closing in.
Give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
It's the phone. He's on the end of the phone. Oh, boy.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
I'm right, it is. Oh, the doors are open right there. Is this the... This is the thumbnail, isn't it? We found it. We found it, guys.
Solution. I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed.
He was projecting.
Maybe he just likes making prisons.
He was projecting, and Davey thought he was really clever. He fell into the trap, the trap of thinking you know better. It's so dangerous and so insidious.
Even now, the disease is telling me
to
stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
Foundation, the dark underbelly.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
I think it is. Yeah. This is the epilogue, so I think it's just like a set piece.
What now?
Is he gonna be like, I enjoyed doing this?
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna...
Right.
Okay.
See you later, Davey, baby. Thank you for being real. You're a real one. Are we going to end up back in that Counter-Strike map? It's funny. I'll go through. I'll talk about it at the end, but it's funny playing this now because I feel like I would have. I feel like I could have. I've already come to similar conclusions myself, like analyzing my own thought processes and stuff. I wish I'd played this sooner, I suppose, is what I'm saying. Oh. This area, well, a lot of this, but this area in particular reminds me of oh, what's it called now? There's a game which is like a museum. It's like a virtual museum of like aggressive. Is it called aggressive design or something? Exclusionary design, where it's like about like basically about chairs that are designed to not be sat on. It's really fascinating, and it's one of those things where it affected me on a level that I wasn't expecting. Like that is literally you just walk around and read stuff and look at things. Like they're real life examples. That's the whisper machine over there, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know, just a very very similar vibe where you just kind of take it in and let it wash over you. We're gonna get ads shortly, so before I go over there, I'll just finish my thought that I started earlier, which is I I felt very similar to Davey in the past. I've spent like a long period of my life chasing that feeling of validation. It's one of those things where it started as something so small. With you know, I used to do all my creative stuff for fun. You know, I used to just role play with people online and write with people, and I would draw, and I used to draw a lot as a kid, and just make games, make music. Like I was just like creative in all aspects. Like if it was a creative endeavor, like I had a go, and had fun just kind of playing around, learning things. Like I'm a glutton for learning and figuring stuff out. And it was, you know, I don't want to say the internet is to blame because it's not. Because I used to share my art on DeviantArt and things like that. It was, I think back then, like early internet, the world was still, even though the world was more connected than ever, it was still very small. You had like small communities. So even though you were kind of like putting your work out there, really only a few people would see it, and that was all. That was all that mattered. And then as things kept getting bigger, and let's face it, things like YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, like the social media models that are like, you're not just sharing this thing with your friends and people that you know, you're sharing it with everybody, and the goal shifts to I want everybody to see it, and that's insidious as well. It doesn't start right away. Some of you may remember when I kind of went through a journey of like going through my old YouTube channels, and I started a vlog in uni, and that was definitely like with a mind of getting noticed or whatever, but it wasn't all consuming in that way, and I just kind of lost interest on my own terms. And then I started Tensei Twister, and that was very much like my friends and I had started a website, and I was making content for the website, but I was having fun with it. Like it was just silly and a laugh. I just wanted to do what I did. I definitely feel like as that started gaining a little bit of traction, and we're saying like a little bit of traction. I got like 2,000 subscribers at the high point. Got on a couple of podcasts, it definitely became like a cart dragging the horse scenario, where it's like I'm no longer doing this because I want to. I'm doing it because I feel like I have to. I was spending money on things not because I wanted the thing. It was because I wanted a thing to. It's because I wanted content, which put me in quite a bad spot monetarily. And then anyway, that ran its course. I was constantly trying to find newer and easier ways, but of course, like the more you mine that, the more you the harder it gets. So I stepped away, not really by choice. It just kind of happened over time. Like my interest in it just eroded away, and then the Nth Human happened, and I always looked back on the Nth Human as like, it was exactly what I needed at the time. But actually, on reflection, I don't think that's true. I think the Nth Human might might have actually been the worst thing that could have happened, and and it wasn't anybody's fault. So just to give some context, like when I was quite big and active in the Undertale fandom, I fancied myself as a bit of an amateur voice actor, So I started a YouTube channel called The Nth Human, and just voice acted a bunch of scenes from the game. And the one of them in particular, I did a scene of I voice acted the Metaton EX fight, and that video went absolutely ballistic. you know, I don't know where it's sitting now, but the last time I checked, like, it was well over 1 million views. And you know, there are a bunch of videos on that channel were like, you know, consistently hit like hundreds of thousands of views. At least like the big ones, like the big boss fights and stuff, you know. And it was great at the time. But I think what it was in reality was a huge shot of the drug that my previous endeavors had gotten me addicted to. So it wasn't like a cure. It was just a delay. Where it was like, oh, you know, here's all the validation that I've been looking for. And then I just fell down the same path. And it was like, it was much faster and much more like meteoric. Starting at the top and then very rapidly eroding away as I found myself making videos basically voice acting every single line of dialogue in that game, until there was just nothing left, and then kind of branching out into other games before eventually realizing, like, well, they're not doing the numbers. And it's a shame. Towards the end, I did a couple of videos voice acting scenes from Off, you know, the RPG Maker game Off, and I had a lot of fun doing those, and I wanted to do more, but the numbers weren't there, and because the numbers weren't there, I just didn't feel inclined to carry on, which is a shame, and it's doubly a shame because the first of the Off, I made two, and the first of the Off videos that I made, I ended up not liking. Like, I didn't enjoy it. I did a voice for the main character that I didn't really think worked, and people felt the same way. And then I did another one, which was the introduction to Dawn, and I tried something new with that, and it was nice that there were people in the comment. There weren't many, but there were people in the comments of that video that were like, they recognized that I thought about it, tried something else, and were like, yeah, we like this much better. I can see what you were trying to do with the first one, but you know, this is great. You know, it shows that you thought about it. And it's like, oh, the people that were there in that comment section were the people that actually gave a damn, you know. But yeah, the Nth Human kind of gave me a taste of like what it actually feels like to, I guess, be a successful or a viral content creator. I guess, like, I had people making fan art and people making videos and like putting my voice in those videos. People were saying like I was their voice claim for like their voice cast for like the Undertale movie or whatever. It was great, but yeah, like I say, I think it was maybe more of a poison pill than I thought it was for a long time. We're talking like very recently that I started to feel differently, but I don't regret it. I still value and enjoy that time, but I definitely think that it delayed my trajectory of me reaching this point that I'm at now, probably by a good number of years, by like reinforcing the negative aspects of why I was doing it in the first place. While at the time it felt like I was doing it for positive reasons, it just followed the same pattern. I did it because I was enjoying it, but then suddenly one of them went mega viral, and that was all that it was. Like, it couldn't go anywhere else from there. Like, it just it eclipsed everything. So yeah, and I think everything from that point on, you know, like the D&D stuff, like when I got into like D&D and was like, oh, I'm gonna do writing for D&D, but it wasn't just I'm gonna do writing for D&D because I want to. It was because, oh, this is a thing that I'm interested in. I have to mine this for validation points now. All of a sudden, I have to be good at it. And yeah, it just continued to spiral from there. I'm in a much better place now. You know, like, I think streaming is also something that I've had both a positive and negative association with for very similar reasons, where sometimes I've streamed for the wrong reasons. Not necessarily for the wrong reasons, but we always have good intentions, right? But those thoughts, the need and the desire for validation sort of always sit in the back of your mind and insidiously influence how you do things or what your priorities are. And it wasn't until literally earlier this year that I started to think differently. When we went to America, we went to M's hometown, and just had like a really nostalgic moment, and it took me back to a point. It took me back to a point before all of that. It took me back to the point where we were just drawing for fun, or just doing stuff for fun. There was no YouTube, there was no Twitch, there was none of this stuff. I was just doing it for the sake of doing it. Hi, Katie. Yeah, well, good timing. So, and I think having that connection point woke me up a little bit, and it kind of reminded me, like, oh yeah, this was there was a point where I was just doing this for fun, and when I was doing it for fun, I did it more than I ever had done before. So sorry. And that's really like, I should also say that a couple of things happened in quick succession that like really sort of put the gears turning. One was that I played Void Stranger, and I'm saying to everybody in this chat, anyone who sees this, if I edit this video, anyone, please, for the love of God, play Void Stranger. That set off some lines of thinking, and then I went on the holiday, and that connected me back there, and I kind of got into this whole like metaphoric like idea of I have to reunite with my creative spirit, and just start doing things for the sake of doing it. And that's kind of where all of this came from. Honestly, like, I started streaming again. Well, it's when I did the panel for KokoroCon, when I made Anime Catchphrase. Like, when I started getting back into making games and stuff, that was really when I started to feel like, right, that was before all of that. But I'm getting my timeline muddled up now. But the gears had already started turning in the idea, the thing of like, I'm just gonna do this because I want to do this. I'm gonna scale my world down from I'm trying to impress the entire freaking world to I just want a few people in the room to be like, hey, that was pretty cool. That thing that you did, that was pretty cool. And I'm trying to carry that energy forward, and that's very much the I'm not going to pretend that I don't need validation, right? I'm not going to pretend that the desire for validation just isn't part of who I am anymore, because that isn't true. That has never been true. I've always made things with the intention of showing it to people. I want people to see it. Even when I was making music in my dad's office, like, it was always I'm going to make this and it's going to be cool, and I want my dad to listen to it. And I want him to be like, wow, you did it. That's a thing that you did. That's always been part of who I am. But my resolution now is to not let that overshadow the joy of the thing itself. And that is one thing that I would say about streaming as I am now. I love it. I feel so comfortable streaming like this. You know, when I first became interested in VTubing, I wanted to like make a character. Like I made Fathom, like I turned Fathom into like a VTuber avatar, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be great. And it just wasn't quite right, you know. And then I decided earlier this year, like sod it, I'll just make an avatar of myself and just be me. And that seems to have, like, something seems to have clicked. And I'm more than, like, before I used to hit the go live button, and it used to bother me when, like, my friends weren't watching, or you know, for whatever, like sometimes you just can't make it, it's just one of those things, or sometimes you're not super interested in what I'm doing, you know, it doesn't matter. But it used to really bother me, and it used to kind of like affect how I spoke to people, and what I did. And you know, it almost used to feel like a rejection. But I guess that was just me projecting, like, oh, I guess they don't want to see me. But now it's flipped. I am more than happy now to slam the go live button. I don't give a shit if you guys are here or not. It's fun. Like I would say that the stream we had on Monday, just when we were playing Astral Chain, and like Ebby was sharing videos, and we were just like, oh, I'll just stop what I'm doing to watch this video real quick. That was fun. But at the same time, like, I'm more than happy to just press the button and play a game, because as vain as it might sound, I just, like, I'm sitting here right now looking at my OBS, watching my model talk, and that's fun to me. Like, it's like, it's that on its own, I think is cool. But obviously, I'm very happy to have you guys here, and I'm glad that I'm glad that you appreciate. Appreciate's the wrong word. I'm glad that you value me sharing this stuff. Like I've talked at length about how I feel about this stuff, like, a number of times, and the journey that I've been on is very long, or has been very long. It's not even over. Like, I wouldn't condescend to say that I've figured everything out. But I would like to think that I may be further along than some people might be. And that's kind of part of what I want. You know, if I'm gonna have like some grand scheme for this channel, whatever it is, my brand, if you want to get corporate or whatever, is I want to, you know, I want to be like a positive force for people who want to be creative, want to do these things, but are maybe feeling like crushed under the weight of expectation, and just how hostile the creative environment is these days, with, you know, everything that's going on. I won't get into it now, but you know, it's not fun, existing as somebody who wants to be creative and be recognized for their creativity in this world. It's an extremely difficult path. There's a lot of things and a lot of people that are more than happy to abuse and exploit you. And I guess I just want to help people along the path as best I can. And if that's just by me playing video games and showing off some funny things that I can do in OBS with StreamerBot or whatever, then that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I've been having a great time. I think the fact that I'm still doing this.
In this house, we value emotional honesty. Also a burr burr burr.
Yeah, exactly. I'm only like this open and honest about it because, like I say, it's something that's been percolating in my head for a very long time, and I only just feel like now the pieces have started to coalesce into something. And yeah, like I've made it part of like my personal identity, I suppose. But yeah, that being said, let's do this. I've rambled on for far too long. Thank you for listening to me. We're gonna go in the whisper machine. Yeah, man. The so the Japanese in my logo, you might recognize it from like the Be Right Back screen, and I plaster it basically everywhere. Is it means Konran no Hibana, which roughly translates to spark of chaos, and that is very much what I hope to embody. Bye bye. Yo. Bob, is that the man in business suit levitating emoji? God damn it. I'm having a moment here.
Who is this man?
It's man in business suit levitating. And this was a great game. If you can call it a game.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles. And you're so tired, but I know that you're strong.
In time with the music. I love it when they do stuff like that.
So turn back. Turn back.
So, I'm playing the Stanley Parable next week. I think I have to now. It just feels right. Well, that's it, I guess. That was real good. That was a great experience. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, like I say, I think this would have had a bigger impact on me had I played it, I don't know, a year ago. But it was still like, it was still great. Like, and it offers me an opportunity to like think back and be like, man, look how far I've come. And I definitely, like, even now, like, I still see a lot of myself in Davey. The whole idea of like everything's a puzzle that needs to be solved. But sometimes it's okay. Like, sometimes it's okay to not solve it. And the idea as well of like, Coda said, once you figure it out, don't say anything. But yet, like, I guess he clearly hasn't figured it out yet. It's still, but I suppose that's the point. Is with still figuring out, you're always figuring it out, and I assume that's why it's called the beginner's guide, because it's like the targeting to the prison, I guess, like the beginner's guide to escaping a prison. And this is me, like, I'm reading the guide while I'm like, I don't know if I'm completely out of the prison yet, but I'm, making. I've got my spoon. I've made some good headway into there. I'm eating the walls like cereal. Yeah, this is fantastic. It's a real gut punch. Like, I feel like I called it, but even then, like, the impact was fantastic. Like, that moment where Coda, like, actually addresses Davy for the first time in one of the games, and it's so, like, it's just like a gut punch. When everything's been, like, metaphorical or whatever, for him to just suddenly be like, "You did this. This is your fault. Leave me alone." And the whole idea of, like, Davy's just got to live with the consequences of that. Like, sometimes I think one of the important lessons from this, and maybe the real, you take all the game design stuff and the creativity stuff out of it. I think one of the important lessons that a lot of people could stand to learn, something that I'm still wrestling with, is sometimes you fuck up, and sometimes you fuck up so badly that there's no reconciliation. There's no like, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no reconciliation. There's no closure. Like, sometimes you will make a mistake, and the consequences of that mistake are that something's left unresolved. Like, you lose someone that you care about, or they walk away, and there's no fixing it. Like, there is no fixing it, and that's sometimes the most difficult thing to come to terms with. Is and I think the reason why people struggle with it is because, like, if I made the mistake, we're taught as kids, like, if you do something wrong, you say you're sorry, and that's how things get fixed. But sometimes that's not enough. Like, you can't take the genie out, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, sort of thing. Like, sometimes things change irrevocably, and I think people struggle with the idea that, I know I definitely struggle with the idea that that's your fault. You can't reconcile this thing, and that's your fault. I think a lot of people can relate to Coda's situation. A lot of people can recognize themselves at David's. Yeah, I can definitely see both sides. Like, somebody who, just loves the joy of creating, and then feeling that get poisoned by somebody else. I definitely think that it was definitely more on the nose. Like, I relate a lot to Davy. I do not like Davy. At this like, fictional dramatized Davy that exists within the beginner's guide, I should say, because in the bounds of the story, like, what he did wasn't cool. He took somebody else's work. Not only because it would be one thing. Like, I was naive and I thought that he was just, modifying the game so that he could see everything that was in it and see all the secrets and stuff to try and learn more about the inner workings of Coda's mind. But it was way worse than that. Like, he was actually going in and changing it, and then showing it to other people so that he could vicariously live off of that, vicariously get that validation of, like, somebody being like, "Oh, this game's so good." But in his mind, it was like, it's only good because of the changes that I've made that turn it into a complete experience. Like, it's only good because the lamppost is there, sort of thing. And that's extremely like, here, I fixed it for you energy, you know. That's definitely like that's definitely a creative boundary that is a huge no-no. Yeah, exactly. Like he became so desperate for validation that he saw something in Coda's work that he wanted, and under the guise of sharing his work, usurped it. No, 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 no. I can see why Coda was definitely like, yeah, don't speak to me again, please. I'm really curious. I'd be really curious to know how much of it is true, if any of it is even true, or you know, like whether it is flipped or whatever. Like you said, Bob, it's, you know, it's lifted from potentially someone that he was roommates with in college or whatever. I'd be very curious to know, because I do feel like it's a deeply personal story to share, even if you've changed the names and stuff, you know. And it does feel a bit on the nose, I suppose. I imagine the reality was a bit more boring. Not boring, but you know what I mean, like less narratively satisfying. Anyway, we've got ads. I've rambled on for far too long. This was great. Share it with your friends. I'll have to let Alan know that I played it and I enjoyed it. Man. Yeah, definitely. So, like I say, I bought this in a bundle that came with the Stanley Parable, and I've never played the Stanley Parable before. I've never watched anyone play the Stanley Parable. I don't really know anything about it. So I guess that's what we're doing next week. So look forward to that. Is it the Ultra Deluxe Upgrade? I don't know. Guess I'll find out. You know what? Let's go back here. This one? Hello. We're back sitting down now because I've got to do my credits. Oh boy. Oh boy. Where are we? Where are we? The Stanley Parable. Ultra Deluxe. The answer is I don't know. It's not telling me. Store page? No. The Stanley Parable is already in your library. Bundle info. The thing that I bought, it just says the Stanley Parable. That's the soundtrack. Oh. It is not the Ultra Deluxe version. It is the regular version. Wait a tick. So I have to, so if I want, it's not like I can't just like upgrade. I have to buy the full game again to get that. I ain't doing that. I thought it would be like a DLC or something. 20 quid, bro. It's its own experience. Oh, okay. It's like a holy. Okay. That's different. I will do the Stanley Parable and then we'll do it. Okay. That all is forgiven. Very very well. So yeah, we'll do the Stanley Parable. It's the Final Fantasy VII remake of obscure narrative, meta-narrative driven experiences. So yeah, we'll do Stanley Parable next week, and then we'll do Ultra Deluxe at some point in the future. I can't really afford to drop 20 quid on another game right now. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna get the credits going, because look at this thing that I did. Yeah. So this will like run through any like followers and subscribers, but because we haven't had any of those today, it just moves on. Like this is all the stuff that it shows, all the stuff that I use. and you know, it gives credit where credit is, you know, is needed for all the things. You know, it's what I talked about on Monday, and then it's got all my links. Spanner kindly drops them in the chat. That's all my stuff. And then see you next time, yeah. And then it reminds me to raid somebody. So I guess let's do that, huh? Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and letting me talk nonsense at you for a while. I will be back on. Oh, we can raid Misha. I'll be back on Sunday playing more Four Swords. I think. I know Ebby was having an issue with her headset, but I think we've got a temporary solution to that for now. So we should be still on. So yeah, join me in the raid. I don't know what we say, but I'll just raid. Okay. Thanks. Okay. We do the thing. Let's go.